Hi guys, I got to colour in an image from Jasmine Beckett's new book Mermaids. I'm colouring this image today, which is called Seascape, and let's hop in and have a look. So here we go. I've got this image Seascape here out of the book. I'm not going to try and read it. I have transferred the image onto some marker paper here, which I'll pop the details in the description below. It is really important. Most of the information that I give you is in the description, so there's links and all sorts of things there, so do have a read of that. So I've just got my skin colours out there, and I'm coming in first of all to do a layer of E000 over the entire face. So I was really happy to do this image. I was very excited to do a mermaid image, and it's been nearly a month since I got the book and I haven't actually done anything with it. So when I finally did get to start, I was very enthusiastic, and I actually worked quite quickly on this one and really loved doing it. So hopefully you guys do too. So we're just laying this down as a base layer to start the skin on. I'm going to do 2 layers of skin today, so I'm going to use the same colours and the colour order that I'm using now on the second layer, and that's Shadow, my cat, coming to say hello. She's a Bengal and loves to have conversations with me and thinks that I'm talking to her and not you guys. So I'm just refilling my marker here. It actually ran out while I was doing this, and I know that I've got a couple of layers to do, so I'm just filling that up there now. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Come and join our Facebook group. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You'll get notifications when I do upload new videos. At the moment, I'm doing a little bit of a flip through series of Jade Summer books. I have quite a few of them, so I decided to go ahead and just make a few flip throughs so people can have a look at the images inside the books and decide whether they'd like to get one as well. So I'm coming in now and I'm doing some shadow areas. Now I've done this first layer quite thick, meaning that the area I'm doing is quite large. I'm not doing nice thin lines here. I'm doing it quite thick to put in that color. So I'm going to go into all of the shadow areas, and I'm going to mark out any facial features that I want to mark out here as well. You can do this with a lighter marker to start with to see where you want to mark out areas. So if you don't know what to do with the nose or the lips or things like that, you can mark that out with a lighter marker first and then go over it with the darker colors later. I'm going to do this all over, so I'm doing it on her arms and her neck as well, and I actually missed her belly so in doing the recording, so I do that right near the end when I notice it under the ball there. So we're going to do some glass techniques today, and we're also going to look at doing some beautiful hair and the plaits there as well. So I'm just going to go in and complete the filling out of this color. So I'm bringing in some E11 now, and I'm going to go over the top of the previous color there and just blend that out. So I'm just going to go over that area until it seems to smooth and smudge in together. So I'm going to come over that again now with some E21, and I'm going to mark out now most of the darker areas. So I'm going to leave some room for just highlights now. I'm going to try and sort of link some of this color up with the other colors so that we just have a few small gaps now for the highlight color. So this is my second last color, E00. I'm going to fill out most of the skin area with this now. Each time I've done a layer, I've made sure I've gone over all of the areas I've done previously. So you can see already on the left bottom of the left cheek there that it's starting to look a little bit, I guess it's speckled. That actually means that the color's actually desaturated a lot and it causes kind of a speckledy look on there. So we're actually going to do another layer to help blend that through nicely and stop that desaturation from happening. So I will go over with the second layer. With the second layer though, I'm not going to pay as much detail to those shadow areas as I did previously. I'm just going to do a thin layer through the shadow areas, and I'm going to leave the other colors to help pick up the other color that's there already. So I'm coming in with that E00 now and just going over most of the skin with this. I'm going to leave those slight little highlight areas now. So I'm coming in now over the whole area again, and this time I'm filling out all of the gaps and making sure that that's all nicely blended in. So it kind of all smudges in and melts in together to look nice and soft. Okay, so I'm coming in now with E04 again, and I'm going to do a second layer of all of those colors again. So this time I'm not concentrating on these shadow areas as much. We're going to do a thinner layer through here, and I'm going to allow the other colors there to just bring out that shadow area. So I've made sure to mark out finger creases and things like that as well on the bottom hand, but I actually didn't do that as much on the top one. But you can go ahead and do that, add those details in. So I'm going over the top of that now and bringing this a little bit further out now, which is E11, and I'm just blending over it, so making sure that it's nice and smooth and that they mix well together. This will cover over that desaturated look too on the left cheek there. So I'm coming in with my second layer of E21 now, and I'm just going to bring that a little bit further out towards the highlight area. So we're still making sure we leave a gap for those last two colours. Okay, we're going into now E00 and bringing this all the way out now towards that highlight. We're only leaving that little spot there just for the highlighted areas, which will bring in E000. Now I'm bringing in the E000 and I'm coming over the entire area again. You can see now that that cheek area is nice and smooth, and we've managed to make that look nice and fuzzy and soft. So I'm going to finish this layer off, and then we're going to have a look at doing the globe. So I've touched up all the areas that I needed to touch up and made sure I had that nicely smooth and blended. So I'm coming in now with that E000 and I'm going to put this into the orb. So this will be the reflection part of her skin behind the ball, and also there's a little bit of a reflection from her arm there on the left side. So I'm just going in and placing this in there. I did use Jasmine Beckett's original image of this for some inspiration, and this is my interpretation of that. So I'm going to pop in and pop this color through. I've also got a lot of different colors, so I'm going to be mixing in a few different colors, so it may be a little hard to keep track of, but just as long as you're using the similar colors and you're getting a nice smooth blend on those areas, then you still will do okay, so don't stress too much. I've got RV00 and I'm just coming in and placing this in randomly around the areas I want it. So I've got a little bit inside the actual ball where the boats are, and also doing around the edges and things as well here. Making sure to leave the white edge still on the ball just to give it that glassy look. So just had some Y11 then, and I just came over and did one layer around the ball, and I'm coming in now with some YG21, and I'm just going to go in and fill out a little bit of this into the water and also around the edges as well. So I wanted a little bit of, because I'm using blue greens, I wanted a little bit of yellow and green in that as well. So I've got some BG15 now, and I'm coming in and placing this around the bottom area here. Now because I'm putting in a darker BG color, I do need to use a few colors to help desaturate that and give it that nice blurry fuzzy look. So that's why I've got lots of colors here. So I'm going to finish this bit off here, and then I'm going to bring the next color in. So now I'm coming in with some BG07, and I'm going to do this darker water here. I'm not worried about going over these lines in the middle of the water because I'm going to bring some white gouache or gouache through there and put that in there after I finished. So I'm just coming in now to place in the darker areas. Also too, I did find that it was a little bit hard to get rid of those really, I guess, hard lines there, so it might be better actually to flick that out rather than do a straight line like I have. It's up to you. I still managed to get it looking okay, and I was quite happy with it in the end, but just letting you know that it might make it easier if you do flick that out. So I'm coming over the entire area now with some YR000. I want to, as I said, create a fuzzy kind of look over those darker colors, so I'm going to try and use a light color to desaturate that a bit and make it spread out underneath the paper layer there. So what the desaturation means is that it becomes, that lighter color actually comes in with the other ink, and it actually pushes that ink around and it disperses it, so it's going to give you a fuzzy edge. I've got YG00 there, and I was just going over that area again. So I've got another lighter BG color here to help me with that fuzzy edge part that I'm after. So I've got some BG01 to do that. So continuing to bring some colours through here, I've got RV000, another lighter colour to help with that desaturation. That marker's actually running out too, so that's why it was a little hard to put it on. I've got some BV00, and I'm just coming in and marking out the purple parts of the ball. Now I think the right hand side of the ball is supposed to look further away, so that boat there will have those same purples through it as well. So I'm just coming in, and you can see I'm just flicking that marker out towards the lighter area to make it a little bit easier in blending into the next layer. So using the B000 in over the top of that, you can already see that those edges of the BV color are starting to smudge out and look nice and smooth now. I was going to come back in with the BG001, and I've decided that that was a little bit dark, so I've gone for another colour just to help smooth and blend that out. So I've picked a BG53, which is slightly lighter, but it's still got a nice pigment in it. So I'm coming over the top of those areas now, and you can see where I've smudged that out towards that purple, that it is a lot lighter than the previous colour, but I still wanted that look of that smooth look. So it is starting now to look really nice and starting to blend in really well. So you can see there that that middle part looks a little bit shinier. I've got the BG30 there, and I'm just coming in over the top of everything and just helping to smudge that out a little bit more. And I have forgotten to do the little circle in the ball there, so I'll come back and fill that out in a moment. So I've got some E000 there, and I'm coming back in over the skinned area. You can see on the left hand side there underneath her elbow of the arm, there should be a part of the arm through the orb, so I'm going to come in and fill that out in a little while. I've got some BG01 and BG00 just in the top part here. So this video is set really fast, so if you'd like to slow that down, grab out your colours that you need, and then you could slow down the video and watch from there. So it is a little bit easier to upload when they're this short, so hence why they are going quite quickly. I've got W3, and I'm coming into the sails, and I'm just putting in some crease lines in there, and I've forgotten to fill out a little bit of the sky there, so I've just used some E000 to fill that out a little bit there and pop that through. Also, I had a little bit of Y000 as well. So I've come in with some E21 and done that elbow down the bottom there just to to put that back behind that glass ball and to show that it is transparent as well. So I'm using some W0 to blend out that W3 on the mast, or sorry, the sails of the boat, and I've got some that W0 and W3 into the other ones as well. So I've missed a little bit of sky underneath the sails there, which I'll come in and do in a moment as well. So I'm using BV25 to colour in this boat, and I'm also going to use this colour to colour in the masts and all of the poles and things like that on the boat. I've blended it out with some W0. So that part there I think is supposed to be further away, so I've just made it a duller colour to do that. I've got some E33 and I'm coming in and lining out the lines on the boat. I've got W3, I'm just actually filling out the sky behind it now. I've used a bit of W3, some BV0 and things like that through there, so just to sort of create the same look. I'm using some BV25 for all the masts and things like that on the boat, and I'm also going to use it around the outside of the boat there as well. I've got some W0 to blend that out. I also used a little bit of W3 in the boat there as well, just to smooth that out a little bit. So I'm going to use some gouache here, and I'm going to go in and line out the white sections of the ball. So on the right hand side here, I wasn't actually happy with that by the end of it, so I actually came in with a little bit of wet paper towel, and I just sort of wiped it off a little bit to get rid of that really bright white, and I was actually really quite happy with it in the end. So I'm just coming in and lining out all of these areas. I'm using my fingers sometimes to smudge the colour, and sometimes I'm leaving it white. So what we're trying to do is create a little bit of reflection to help make it look like glass. So I'm going to go in and finish that. I'm also going to line out the waves in here. So to do that, just made a mistake then, so you can see what I actually did. I actually used a wet brush just to wipe it off again and then re-put it back in. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to put some fluffy areas around the clouds. So I'm going to, around the sea, I'm going to line it out first, and then I'm just going to use my brush just to fluff over it a little bit to make it a little bit softer and make it look like a little bit more like waves. So I'm going to come in and finish that off now. So I finished most of that off there, but I'm going to get rid of this white area. As I said, just a bit of white paper towel, and I just sort of smoothed and smudged that over a bit. I forgot to fill out the details in the top of this glass ball. I'm using some E000 and some W3 and a little bit of W1 through there just to pop in some colour. I'm also going to put in some E79 when I come through to do the hair. I'm making sure I put these white parts on this as well. So being quite happy with that, I've come across to do some of the eyes. So I've got R20, I'm putting underneath the eyes just to do the fleshy parts. I'm also putting this on the lips as well. I'm going to use some E000 just to blend that out a little bit in a moment as well. So I'm also going to do the colour in the eyes as well. So we've got some C3 to do the shadow areas. I'm going to blend it out with some C1 I think I've got there. So I'm just sort of blending out the fleshy areas underneath. I've got C1 there. I'm just blending out that C3, and I've got the 0, the colorless blender, and I'm just using that to push that out and make that look nice and fuzzy there. So I'm going to come in and do the actual eye color now. I'm using some yellows and some yellow greens through the eyes. I wanted it to kind of look a little bit like a seaweed color. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in a moment. I'm also going to use a black marker to go over the eyelashes and also the pupil of the eye as well. So I'm coming in with some Y15, and I'm just flicking little flicks out towards the edge of the iris there. So I'm going from the pupil out. I'm going to bring in some Y28, which is a goldy green color, and I'm going to bring this in around from the outside of the iris in towards the pupil. So you can see there I'm just doing little flicks out in towards that area. I'm also going to bring in some YG95, and I'm going to do this on there as well. So we're creating a little bit of texture there and a little bit of depth, and it looks really pretty. We're also going to do a little bit of this from the inside out. So you can see I've done a few little flicks from the inside out. So I'm coming in with some YR23 now, just to put a little bit of that color through. I wanted a little bit of a golden look as well, so I've just gone with that one there. So now I've done that, I'm going to go in and do the black part. So I'm going to do the pupil and also the eyelashes. If you're still not sure about using that black marker, make sure you do come in with the black fine liner instead. Once I've done that, I wanted to put a little bit more depth in, so I've come in with some YG99, and I've just sort of done that around the outside of the pupil and outside of the iris, and a couple of parts around the pupil as well, just to bring in a little bit more depth into those eyes. So now they look really nice. I'm going to go and put some white highlights on this, and I'm also going to put some put this into the eyelashes as well. So I'll put a couple of spots on here and there. I'm just whitening up this pupil, sorry, the eyeball area here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in now. So you can see there I've done some nice curve shaped over the eyes but underneath the eyelid there, just to create a little bit of a light reflection across them, Jasmine Becket always has some pretty highlights on the eyes. She does make them quite bright and stand out, but it really makes those eyes look really nice and glassy. So I've gone ahead and popped that in there. So we're going to go in and finish some details on the lips here. Now, please excuse me during this part because I do swap and change the colors all the time. I'm using only 3 actual colors though. I've got the R22, R21 and R20, and I'm going in and doing on like randomly and in altering the colors that I'm putting in, but I'm doing a dark a shadow area, a medium mid-tone area, and also a highlight area. I couldn't get the effect that I was looking for, so that's why I went in multiple times to redo it. So you may not have to do that. You may get it as dark as you want it straight away. But I think that maybe if I had have used a darker color than the R22, I may have got more of an effect that I was actually looking for. But because I was just having fun with it and I liked playing, I just kept playing around with it. But you know what they say, a person who keeps doing the same thing over and over again and expects different results is crazy. So that's me. So anyway, I do come in with a white pencil in a little bit, and I do use some white pencil and a little bit of colorless blender as well, just to go over that and try and get a little bit more of a highlight that I was looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to use a bit of that gouache now to go over and put some highlights in the lips as well. So I've just blended it out a little bit and just put a couple of really fine ones in on the top and bottom lip there. So that would be the lips done. So we're going to move on to the hair next. So I'll come back in with the colours for that in a moment. So guys, the hair takes a little bit of time, so take your time doing it, and just enjoy the process, I guess. It's a little bit mesmerizing doing the hair. I sort of always get lost during it. So I'm using some E79. I'm going to be using E70 colors, and I'm going to add in some pink from the 80 R85 range. So just coming in, and I'm doing all of the shadow areas in this color. So anywhere where the shadows would be, I'm just placing this color in, and I'm just flicking out from that area to create a I guess a little bit of a cradle we're creating. So I always come in from one side, flicking out from one side, and then come back from the other side. So you've got a little bit of a highlight created in the center of that section. So I'm just going to go along and fill this out. So as I said, it is a long process, so this part of the video is quite long, but you can slow it down if you want to keep up and you're not sure where I'm putting things. That's fine as well. But yeah, I'm just using little flicking motions out towards the highlighted area and making sure I leave enough room for the remaining. I think there's 4 colors still to go on this one. So I'm going to go in and finish off this part first. So I've just done the eyebrows this same colour as well, and I've just noticed down the bottom here I've missed some skin. So I'm just coming back in with those skin colours just to fill this area out, and then I'm going to continue on to finish the hair. So I'm coming in with some E77 there, and I find this colour is very, very similar. It's just a slight little bit softer, and it's got a little bit more of pink tone in it. So I'm coming in over the top of the previous colour, just using those flicking motions again, and just extending that the darker colour further in towards the lighter areas. So we're still keeping our highlight area, and remembering we've got 3 more colours still to come in. So now I've got some pink to put in there. I've got some R85, and I'm going to come in over the top of the previous colours and extend this further out. So I wanted this to sort of be like a little bit of an undertone or a shine, like if you have blue black hair, the undertone sort of is blue, except this time I'm going with pink. I quite like the way that these colours mix together too, the brown and the pink. So yeah, I'm coming in now with R85 and just flicking out towards the middle section there. I've got some E74 to come back over this, so there's still 2 more colours to fill in. So I'm really just putting this over what I've already done and only flicking it out a tiny little bit, and just extending and making those lines a little bit thicker and filling in sort of, I guess, the wider areas that are already from the browns that have already been put down. So I'm not going too far out because I definitely have 2 more colours to put in there, so I want to make sure that I've still got a highlighted area after I put those in. Okay, so we're going to come back in with that E74 and go over the top of that again. So I'm only leaving a smaller area now for the highlighted area, and I'm going to come back in after this one with some E71 to finalize the hair and just soften off those highlighted areas. So coming over the top of the red that we've just, or the pink we've just done now, and bringing this a little bit further out towards the highlight. So we've got our final colour, which is our E71, and I'm going to come over all of these highlight areas. So I do find that the last few layers do take a lot less time. It's really the main two layers that take the longest because there's a lot still to fill in, but as you go further on through those colours, the sections get a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit quicker to get through. So I'm just finishing this colour off now. Now I do start on the seaweed in a moment, and then I'm going to swap back and I decide to do another layer of dark through the hair as well. So I grabbed some E55 and I'm just doing inside the middle sections of these little pieces of seaweed here. So I've just noticed too I've missed a little bit of hair. So I'm going to grab my E79 again, and when I do this I realize that perhaps those highlights aren't as bright as they should be. So I've come into all of those shadow areas again, and I'm just going in and going over those areas. And what it actually will do is create more highlights because we're deepening up those shadow areas. So I'm going in now with the E79 to do that first before I finish off these pearls and this seaweed. So I'm coming in over the top of the E55 with some YG99. So you can see that I probably really didn't need to put in that E55. So if you wanted to skip that step, you could. But I'm coming in now with that YG99 and just putting a little bit in each of the middle of those pieces of seaweed or leaves. Coming back over that now with some YG95 to fill that in a little bit further. So I'm trying to sort of bleed out the color a bit. I'm being quite rough and making sure that I've got plenty of ink there to push that darker color out and spread it out a little bit more. I'm going to come over the top of that again with some YG93, so we're just really creating some nice little areas where there's depth and light. So the last thing I've got left to do is the background and the pearls. So I'm actually going to grab some YG97, which is in between the other two colors we use, and I'm just going to mark in a little bit of a C or curve shape inside each of these little beads. So we're going to try and create a shadow in the middle sort of section and then a highlight on either side of the top and the bottom of it to show light reflecting off it. So I'm coming in to blend that out now with YG95, so it's quite quick. I'm being a little bit rough. I'm not worrying about sort of blending that in or bleeding that in at all, because this color now, the YG93, I'm coming over the whole area, and what it actually does is it desaturates all those darker colors, but it helps to sort of blend them in together and smudge them in as one. I'm coming in now with that white gel pen again, and I'm going to put a little dot on the top of each of these pearls, and I'm also going to put a tiny little line underneath all of the highlighted areas as well, which is on the bottom part of the pearl. So it's only a small little line, but it's just to show that the light reflects on the top and from underneath as well. So I'm coming in to do the other side as well now, just scratching a little bit off there that went over. So in this middle section here, I missed a little bit of hair, so I've just filled that in with a little bit of E79 and some E74, just to sort of smudge it out a little bit there. And I have put a little bit of that brown inside the glass handle there as well to sort of reflect that off. Now, my background, I actually had a little trouble with this particular marker I'm using now, which is G29. It went a little bit sticky on the paper, and I'm not sure why, but it doesn't look too bad, but of course I played with it, and I ended up having to use some colorless blender at the end to go over it all, and then I've just come back in over the top of that with a blue color, which I didn't actually video. So all I'm actually doing here is I'm bringing this color up and towards the top of the page, and I'm kind of using flicking motion so that I can blend the next color in. So after doing this, I realized that I probably should have put another color in here. So if I was to do it again, I would add in a G17 after this color directly, so I wouldn't go to the next color that I have in the video. So it's one of those things where I've learnt now, and I probably won't do that again. A happy mistake in the end, but I just wanted to explain that to you, I guess. So I actually I'm trying to wipe off the sticky there, and I don't realize how bad it is until I start trying to put this color over it, and it won't desaturate or blend in at all. So I'm using G05 here, and as you can see there, it wasn't blending as nicely as I wanted. So I would probably add in a G17 here before I put the G05 in, just to give it a little bit more of a transition. Anyhow, I'm going to follow this color on after with the G02. And then my video actually stops because I think I've finished, but I just kept coming back to it and thinking I really need to do something. It's not right. It's not how I want it. So unfortunately I forgot to push record again to get that last little bit, but all I did was put a little bit of clear ink onto some paper towel, or a cotton swab actually, because that would hold a little bit more of that colorless blender. And I just came in and wiped it over the entire area, and what it actually did was create a little bit of texture through it. It took out some ink here and there, and it made it look a little bit mottled, I guess you call it, which like little dots all over it and things like that. And then all I did was come in with B02 and just completely coat the entire section, so it kind of comes out like a blue-green for the final image, which you'll see in a moment. I just wanted to explain to you what happened there, and apologize for missing that part of the video as well. That's the thing when you sort of in your head, you're looking at this image and you're not really thinking about what's going on, is what actually happened. So I forgot to actually push record again to record that last little section. So I've got that GO2 and I'm coming in and just blending over that GO5, which actually blended quite nicely together, but I think due to that tackiness of that darker green, I couldn't get the nice smooth blend between the two, and would have liked to have come in with the extra color there as well. So almost finished here, guys, but I just want to thank Jasmine Becket for these beautiful images and her new mermaid book. It's amazing. I will put all the links in the description below as well. Also too, if there's any questions that you have, please don't hesitate to ask. We also have some color conversion charts for all of the images that I've been doing. They're available to patrons if you want to pop over there to check out a pencil conversion chart. I do polychromos and Prismacolor pencil conversions for these. And that's everything. So guys, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time.